little story I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well.
If you ain't first, you're last. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. And Donovan has scored! Oh, can you believe this? Go, USA!
Episode 4 of the Greenberg Hat Trick. Thank you for listening, and we're back. Another crazy week in the wide world of sports. Right off the top, Seth will be joining us midway through the podcast. He had to work a little bit on this Friday afternoon, so he'll call in with some tennis opinions and some of the soccer opinions of his. That was a crazy international break yesterday, but we will start the show as I welcome Mike and Jake into the podcast.
Hello, sir.
Thank you for having us.
The fight. Mayweather in the 10th round, TKO. What are your guys' thoughts?
I think it lived up to the hype. I think it could have gone much, much worse. I think even Mayweather said himself after the fight, like, he hoped the fans were excited. And I think the fans were, like, not excited. He hopes the fans enjoyed it and actually, like, it lived up to what they expected and all the excitement behind it. And I really thought it did. Like, every round had something interesting going on. It started off with McGregor, and slowly he faded down and Mayweather took over.
I also think it was a great match. I didn't get the chance to watch it. I had an exam, but watching it at post-fact it was a great fight. It was really entertaining. It lasted way longer than a lot of people thought it would, and I definitely enjoyed it.
I think it went exactly how Mayweather wanted it to go.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it was just boxing genius on his behalf. He let McGregor have his few points in the first 2-3 rounds, get some shots in, more shots than people expected. But then he tired him out. The UFC typical fight is 25 minutes. Boxing is 36 minutes, 12 rounds, 3 minutes. So
he got to like 29 or something like that, right?
Something like that. But and he's just throwing bombs. That's what McGregor was doing the whole fight.
He was throwing bombs and like being very wild and unorthodox with it. Like, he was throwing some hammer fists and stuff like that, where it was really like the ref had to step in sometimes. But he gassed himself. Like, he exerted too much energy in the first few rounds. He didn't get enough punches. He got a good 1-2 few shots off on him, but Mayweather is too good. Like, yeah. He took all the punches and he just came back so strong later in the fight.
Yeah. Props to both men. Jake, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, actually, I definitely think it was pretty indicative of both their fighting styles, sort of, especially Mayweather's this sort of war of attrition style boxing, where, I mean, obviously he's a great boxer, but what makes him really great is he's willing to see the fight as a marathon and not a sprint, and think 5-6 rounds ahead even to what's going to happen in round 8, what's going to happen in round 10, do I need to tire him out? How are things going? And I mean, I definitely think he was smart enough. As soon as he saw McGregor going pretty hard like that in the first few rounds, he definitely realized he was going to have to tire him out. And also, to McGregor's credit, I mean, for somebody who has never boxed, he definitely lasted a long while and managed to get in some pretty good hits. So again, no shame in loss, especially not when it comes to all that money. But I think it was a really good fight on both of their accounts.
Especially when it comes to all that money. Last point on the fight, was the ref correct to stop it when he stopped it?
It's debatable. McGregor said himself that he wished that if he was going to lose by a knockout, that Mayweather should actually be able to knock him down. And his excuse was like he gets wobbly and tired when he's fatigued, but like he should have let Mayweather at least try and knock him down. But I think it was the right stoppage. The fight was going nowhere. It could have been ended even in the 9th round maybe at some point. But yeah, like Mayweather did what he needed to do, and I think the ref did what he needed to do.
I think there's an argument to be made it could have been ended even in the 8th round. So I definitely think, I mean, he gave it 2 rounds, and even though it was a technical knockout, I also agree that it was the right time to stop it. It would have gone nowhere if it had continued for another few rounds.
Agreed. It could have been stopped sooner, I believe. I think it definitely shouldn't have lasted longer. Great fight. It was entertaining.
Yeah, the only thing left to be said is, will McGregor fight again with boxing, or is he going back to the UFC? Because I've heard from many different sources he's got 2 fights left, whether it's UFC or boxing, and he's basically going to call it quits and take care of his health, because you don't want to stay in combat sports for too long.
We shall see. But moving on to international soccer, it's the international break as the leagues across Europe and around the world, except for MLS, go on break for World Cup qualifying.
America.
Oh, yeah, I mean, MLS beats to its own drum, which is to their detriment. But last night was crazy for the upsets. Some of us thought it'd be chalk, using that word a lot, that most of the favorites will win. Not the case. The big upset of the night was Cyprus over Bosnia and Herzegovina. It was 2-0.
Yeah, that's it.
And to win it 3-2, all in the second half. It's incredible for Cyprus, who's pretty much a pot 5, pot 6 team. Bosnia's a pot 2, pot 3 team. Those are also rivals of Israel in the past few years. There's nothing but you can say but tip your hat to them because it keeps the World Cup hopes alive. Cyprus is only 3 points back of Greece, 3 games left to play, and I believe they play Greece in the next round in October. But it could be funny that Cyprus is in the World Cup playoff.
Coached by an Israeli.
Coached by an Israeli, Ron Ben Shimon.
I did not know that till yesterday when I was working and saw these games.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. They're pretty close to us. I mean, he didn't have to go far.
He's chilling in Cyprus on the islands and just like he's got to lose a little bit of weight, but I'm sure that might happen at some point. But like not sort of what you were saying, like it's not just the fact that they beat Bosnia. They were down 2-0 and they scored 3 goals in like 15 minutes. Like they scored one right after the other. I recommend everyone to check out their second goal. A crazy good strike. Good. Like congratulations for them for pulling off that upset.
Any more thoughts on yesterday's games?
The ones that like reach out to me. Obviously, you got the 9-0 against Gibraltar with Belgium. Like that was pretty much obvious, but every goal was laughable. Like the first one,
Who's Gibraltar?
It was a training exercise. Gibraltar just got into FIFA and UEFA this past cycle. Again, you have to be careful because every country should be allowed to qualify or at least have the ability to qualify. But at some point, you have to realize that these countries are on a different level than the top countries. And
Gibraltar's not a country either.
Well, there's that too, but FIFA welcomes them in and UEFA welcomes them in. There needs to be some sort of change for this. There should be some pre-qualifying tournament for these teams because 9-0 it doesn't serve anyone's purpose.
Like to their credit, they have more goals than I thought they would after 7 games, which is only 3 still.
It's not.
It's still not good enough. Like it's literally a waste of a game. Risk of injuries for players. It's just there's a lot, and when they go to Gibraltar, I don't know what type of field Gibraltar might have. It's probably not the most state of the art, the greatest field to play on for these players.
It isn't, and there's only a population of 32,000 in Gibraltar. So I mean, you have that going for you as well. I mean, I think their striker's a police officer, and one of their defenders is a lawyer, and other normal professions. But that's what it is. But I think we'll touch on South America a bit because that's the craziest qualifying with Chile losing unexpectedly 3-0 to Paraguay.
That was huge shock. Like I worked.
Good.
I worked. Why good? You have something against Chile?
No, it's not that I have anything personally against Chile. It's just that like the same teams always win. I like to see a little bit. I mean, in general, in most sports, but especially in soccer, one of the things I like most about soccer is there's a lot of variability. I mean, there's a lot of potential for variability. There isn't always, but seeing countries that you don't expect to do well, and not to say Paraguay is a bad team, but like everyone's expecting Chile to win, and Paraguay pulls it off.
But not only that, 3-0.
Huge upset. Yeah, 3-0. Chile looked horrible the entire game. Alexis Sanchez's mind was somewhere else, probably wondering if he's going to City or something else with Arsenal. Like, he's not happy right now.
If I was him, I would get to a friend on Barcelona and return to Barcelona because that's the only team that can make a bid right now as their transfer window is still open.
We'll get there soon because there's also some other rumors still even though the English window's closed, there's still some little things that might happen.
But 3 games left in South America. Second place has 25 points. 8th place, Ecuador, has 20.
Yeah,
so those places are up for grabs.
Brazil's the only team that's locked. Everyone else, even if like Colombia had second place right now with 25, they're still not a guaranteed spot because their next game is against Brazil.
Yeah, it's a must-win for Colombia because otherwise they'll be in big trouble going into the games in October. Mm-hmm. But we'll go to tonight's game in North America, the big one. It is USA versus Costa Rica. Previously, we said that it'd be a comfortable win for USA for revenge from the first game in qualifying in Costa Rica.
4-0.
4-0 to Costa Rica. Sorry, but it's a must-win. And to be honest, you have to play the games, but it should be a USA win. And
you'd think, yeah, especially them at home.
It's not you think. It should be a USA win. You have to look at both squads and just USA is a better team.
Yeah, they have some injuries. Like there is no Yedlin, so it seems like we're playing Graham Zusi at right back, which I really don't like.
No Yedlin, no Brooks, but Cameron and Gonzalez will be fine. We have Pulisic. Like, it's going to be a broken record now for the next 5 to 10 years. But especially in CONCACAF, we're going to have the best player on the field. So it's going to be expected that everything goes through him, and he'll help us win games.
Wait, so you're saying Gonzalez will start over Ream? I'm looking through at a projected squad right now for the game. And
keep in mind, it's Bruce Arena. Sure. And Gonzalez played for Bruce Arena at LA Galaxy. But I would put my money on Gonzalez because he was big in the Gold Cup. And I don't have any lack of faith in them in the back. Bobby Wood scored last week in Germany, so he should be fine. You got Dempsey probably coming off the bench, Bradley to lead the field, and everyone, if you want to hit on Bradley, it's enough. He's one of the best midfielders in USA soccer history. And again, a must win. With USA winning, let's assume they do, and Mexico beating Panama, they'll have about a 4-point cushion with 3 games to go, which should be good enough to see them qualify the World Cup. So theoretically, they win tonight, they pretty much have a foot into Russia. Predictions for the game tonight.
Against Costa Rica, I will go with, I want to say 2-1 because that's my usually go-to scoreline, but I'm going to say USA keeps the shutout, and they will win 2-0.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I agree with you, 2-0.
And just so we don't jinx it, I'm going to say 3-0 USA. But we're going into the Premier League. We'll recap last week's games and tie into the transfer window closing, at least in England. Some players could leave England to go to like Spain. But we'll start off with Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. This was a crazy game. It started off with an amazing strike.
So far, goal of the year contender.
Probably goal of the year.
It won't get goal of the year, but it'll be up there in the top 10 at the end of the year for sure.
Well, it's the Premier League. Goals always get topped as the season goes around.
I think the goal of the season last year was in the third last week with Emre Can. I think it was really late into the season. So it's never over till it's over.
They're just getting started in the Premier League. Jesus tied it a few minutes later. And then some time wasting in 5 minutes of extra time. He went into the 6th minute, and Raheem Sterling won it for City, but also saw himself getting a double yellow for celebrating into the fans, which you can argue about, which he wasn't.
Alan Shearer was talking about a match of the day.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's right. Like, it's as if like the refs never played soccer as a kid. Like when you score a goal, you have excitement. You want to celebrate, and like it wasn't even him going to the fans. The fans came to him. The fans were the ones coming onto the field. Like, it's as if like the ref expects them to pick up the ball, walk back to midfield, and be like, all right, let's go on, even though there's like literally 30 seconds left to play.
Yeah, apparently that's really funny. Just the idea of like it's just like methodical. I don't know. One of the things I really like, in my opinion, I find weird about soccer is like not only the celebration's crazy, but some of the refs are just so against it. I don't know what they expect, but it's like
some refs try to put the focus on themselves, and it gets really disgusting when things like that happen.
Yeah, it really does.
But yeah, like it's as if like
you have to follow the rules though. It's in the book.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't.
And that's the argument that needs to be changed. I mean, if he went into the crowd on his own, 100%. But the crowd came to him, like you said, and the players should celebrate with the fans.
It's as if like
don't become the NFL. Don't make it a no fun league.
It's funny you mentioned that because the NFL is actually relaxing some of the rules this season for celebrations. Yeah, a little bit.
I was gonna say it's as if like Tom Brady throws a touchdown pass and the guy like gets in the end zone and like turns around and like shakes everyone's hands and like
passes the ball to the ref and goes to the sideline.
That's what I would do.
Thank you, sir, and moves on.
Yeah, goes on, shakes everybody's hands, like game over. Bye, I'm walking off.
City missed out on Sanchez at the transfer deadline. I think they did okay for themselves this summer. They'll be battling out with Man U for the title, I believe.
I just showed Mike a very humorous, in my opinion, article about how these angry Man City fans are blaming Arsenal for missing the window on Sanchez.
I think like it's ridiculous that it comes to the last day in the first place. Like if these players, like if they're that big and the teams need these like players.
Yes and no. It depends on your team situation. And Arsenal's situation evolved where Sanchez started being Mr. Grumpy. You can't blame him, but he became Mr. Grumpy. So that's why the rumors started to happen. And Arsenal doesn't want to sell, just like with Coutinho all summer. Liverpool has not wanted to sell. So it got to the point where Arsenal was like, I mean, this is stupid because I heard it today. They're losing £60 million on a player that doesn't want to be there and will go on a free in the summer.
Maybe in January they'll sell him. There's still another transfer window.
Yeah, but they're not going to. No one's going to pay that much money. Like, why would you pay for someone in January?
If there's a Champions League team that he's eligible to play for Champions League, though, right?
I'm pretty sure, but
You never know. Like, there's still injuries that might happen.
You never know, but you have to look at it from Arsenal's
Right,
standpoint.
I think it's unlikely to.
For
yeah.
a team that's about the money, all of a sudden now to throw away £60 million.
We'll go to Arsenal later when we get to that game. So let's
we're just closing up City. I think a good piece of
Yeah.
business this summer, and they'll be competing with Man U,
don't-
possibly even Liverpool.
We don't need to go over the game, but Crystal Palace, again, another scoreless game against Swansea. The two notable transfers for Swansea was they brought back Boney from Manchester City, which I didn't even know he was still alive.
Yeah.
Like, it could be good for them. No, like,
He's living and breathing.
Yeah, but you haven't heard from him in like a year.
Of course. Well, he's at City. That's the problem. If you're not that a star player and you go to City, you're going to be on the bench.
The biggest, not necessarily shock, but a surprise transfer from the summer was Renato Sanchez going on a long season loan from Bayern Munich to Swansea.
I think if you bet on Swansea to be relegated, you're not liking
anymore.
your chances right
Yeah.
now. I wouldn't say not happening. Things can go downhill. But I definitely like Swansea to stay, maybe even get close to the mid-table.
But this was something we've been talking like behind the scenes for the past few weeks now, where I brought up like, who do you think the most overrated player right now in the world of soccer? And my player that I brought up was Renato Sanchez, because he had such a huge price tag on him when he moved to Bayern Munich, and he really hasn't done anything since then. Yes, he's only, I think, 19 right now, but this is his chance he's going to get games. He's going to start. We'll see what type of player he is. I really don't even know myself if he's an offensive player, defensive player, controlling player like Pogba. If he can do it all, we'll see what he does with Swansea.
Yeah. So we'll quickly run through these next three teams because I bet you will take a lot of time up with Arsenal. Man U wins 2-0 against Leicester. Another gritty performance. They didn't get the 4 goals, but they're proving that they're not going to tie these games at home.
Yeah.
They're proving that they're tough to play against. And to recap their summer, I think is pretty much close to an A.
And another thing you didn't mention, though, like the players on their bench are ready to come in and score goals.
Yeah, Mourinho hinted that as well. He gave them all the credit that they're ready to step up. And it's a good competitive fighting spirit at the club now that people are raising their games to get playing time, but it's in good fun. There's no ill will, and it's like a family. And like it's taken a long time for Man U to get to this point where they're back as like favorites in England, but it's amazing to see. And this is why I said Mourinho should have been there from the get-go. You can have a whole podcast on why they dropped the ball on Moyes, but when it was time for Ferguson to go and the next successor, it should have been Mourinho from there. And there's so much you can write a what-if scenario if that would for that to happen.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, still better late than never.
No, he was going to happen because they were just saying that Van Gaal and Moyes just couldn't get it done, and they just knew. I mean, let's just say it: Mourinho's the best manager of the past 10 years. I'll say.
Yeah,
you have to remember that Fergie was in there as well, and he was doing great things. But
he is the special one.
He is the special one. We'll go to Chelsea 2-0 over Everton. Everton just didn't show up. I mean, that's the best way to put it for this game. They had 3 games in 6 days, so I mean. Smart people would have known that was going to happen. They tied City, which is a great performance, went to Croatia, tied Hajduk Split, and to go to the champions, you're going to have a bad effort. Maybe shouldn't have been this bad, but they didn't look like they were going to score. And Chelsea's back. Like everyone was ready to.
They're back.
Was ready to just crap on them.
Morata's also quietly like getting himself some goals. He's playing well.
Mean, he was my pick for the Golden Boot, and he's getting assists as well. And they're going to be fun. They're going to be fun to watch. They made some great additions, especially on transfer day.
They got this defender I've never heard of
from Torino,
Davide Zappacosta.
Yeah, Italian international, great player.
Let's check what his FIFA rating is.
Oh, that's the key. You want to check that FIFA rating. But
that's what I did with some other player before.
The tie-in between the two teams, Ross Barkley was taking his medical at Chelsea and decided, you know what, I don't want to go through with the transfer. And they canceled the transfer. I believe it was like £40 million he cost Everton.
Wow.
And he's now going to rethink about it till January. But Everton had a good transfer window as well. They will tie it into Arsenal now. But like the question is, does Everton knock off Arsenal into the top 6?
I still think it depends on what happens today, because they're the latest rumor out of my Arsenal fan obsession and all the things I follow is Ozil very, very possibly rumored to Barcelona. That's how things closed last night at the end of the deal, where there's
It would make no sense. It would make no sense because you can't find that replacement. The only reason why they were trying to get the player from Monaco was
they could have gotten Lamar, they could have gotten Mahrez.
They can get rid of Sanchez. They wanted to replace someone talented.
But that's the thing. I think
you can't get rid of Ozil.
I think they can.
then you're.
I love Iwobi. I'd rather play Iwobi over Ozil.
Then Arsenal's getting relegated.
They're not going to get relegated if they play Iwobi and sort of like get these young players to get there and get there where they should be.
If you're placing your hope in Iwobi, an Arsenal Football Club,
he's not the hope.
Your problems are very.
He's
big.
not necessarily the hope.
Let's not forget Arsenal could be at 0 points. I think people forget that they could have lost to Leicester or even 1 point. They barely got by Leicester. This is a bigger problem than most people are saying.
I know it's a huge problem, but I still have some faith in some of the players. Like I said last week that they're going to get embarrassed against Liverpool, and that's what happened. But hopefully, Wenger's got to go back. If he's gonna be the manager, he's got to stick to what he knows. And this whole 3 defender bullshit, like it worked for a few days, but like just go back to the way things were working. Put Kolasinac at the left back, Bellerin at the right back, Koscielny and some I guess Mustafi stayed so he can play. But we need to stick back to what we know.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's fine.
I'm gonna maybe piss you off. I'm sorry, Mike, but I think they're gonna get relegated.
There's no way. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that will happen.
Honestly, and just hear me out on this. I think that Arsenal. I don't think that Wenger's gonna change his mind. I think he's gonna keep moving on the track, and they're gonna go through some shot therapy. Then slowly but surely, in about a month or so, the lynch mob will form, and he'll get fired.
Their next game's against Bournemouth at home. If they can't win then we'll
If
see.
Wenger gets fired, they're not going to be relegated.
Okay, that's fair. That's actually, I agree with that statement.
Wenger's going to be their downfall because I was going to say that you have to keep Wenger in because you've already committed to him at this point. It's only 3 games. You don't fire a coach. You just give a 2-year contract after 3 games. Without Sanchez for 2 of them, let's be honest. I mean, he only played Sanchez for 60 because most likely he was resting him because that was his first full game.
Yeah. And maybe Chile had some sort of say in that too.
Maybe that too. And also, when you don't start your transfers in the game, you're not going to win.
It made no sense.
So, like, some of it is in jest and some of it is serious with them being relegated, but the real Arsenal will show up after the international break.
And the thing we haven't mentioned yet that connects these 2 teams, Liverpool and Arsenal, is Arsenal sold Oxlade-Chamberlain to Liverpool.
That's fine by me.
It's fine by me, but why the hell are we playing this player if we're getting rid of him?
You've misread that whole thing. It's not Arsenal getting rid of him. It's Ox wanting to leave.
Okay, if Ox wants to leave, then why the hell are we playing him? And playing him, forcing Bellerin to play out of position. It just
that
it
was
makes no
different. It was
sense.
different because they were expecting to win. They weren't thinking they were going to lose 4-0. Wenger thought what he was doing was going to be the win. So you go with your players, and Ox, I guess, is a good player. So he started him.
I have no idea where he's going to fit in at Liverpool right now.
That's his problem.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be in the front 3 and be a replacement,
That's
or he's
fine.
going to fight for a spot in the mid.
I mean, if I'm Adam Lallana right now, I'm pissed because I'm not playing when I come back from injury.
Yeah.
Liverpool, I mean, we'll touch on them briefly. They're title favorites.
Yeah, they kept Coutinho as of now.
I mean,
we'll see what happens.
Just think about it like this: they keep their starting lineup the same, and they have Coutinho coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I would argue that they're definitely the team to beat in the Premier League.
No, the team to beat is Man U.
Well,
let's be honest. They have 9 points.
that's fair.
All the other teams don't.
Okay, that's true.
And Liverpool play City off of the international break.
I saw
That is your test. Sorry, I'll get to your point, but like that's the big game when we come back. If Liverpool beats City, boom, they're your title favorites.
Okay, I agree with that, but
in City's home for that game.
Yeah, if they can beat City at home, that would be great. But for now, I think that, and obviously Man U is the current favorite, but I don't know. I think just the way you've been playing them, like considering the expectations, I think they're. I don't know what it is. It's either they're starting to lose steam a little bit, or there's a bit of a jumble. But I think Liverpool definitely has. It's going to be between those two. But
Liverpool still has some defensive issues that they need to take care of.
Of course,
I have no faith in either one of their goalies.
Moreno, Lovren, their goalies are shaky. But then again, if they're going into goal fest, you're going 3-2, 4-3 games, they could be coming up on top.
The one thing we sort of skipped over, I think it's a pretty big fee, but Drinkwater went from Leicester to Chelsea.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to play.
This guy's name, by the way, for everyone listening, is Danny Drinkwater.
Yeah,
it's a pretty epic English name.
It's good squad building right there, but I don't see him starting at Chelsea.
Maybe
Conte, Bakayoko,
right,
and Fabregas. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean,
it's a huge
it's
fee
early.
though, $35 million.
Leicester did their business.
See if any other
Last point on the Premier League before we move on to Seth calling in. Spurs are in trouble. Let's just say it, because they're not winning.
They can't win at home.
And when you tie Burnley at home, that's a problem.
And Harry Kane, 0 goals in 3 games. It's not a Dele Alli, I think, has 2 goals.
Wow.
Well, Dele Alli is a solid player.
Yeah.
Look for Harry Kane to get 1 or 2 goals tonight against Malta, and that'll get his season on track.
I know we're not really going to focus too much on their next games because it's in 2 weeks, but Spurs' next game is at Everton.
Well, I mean,
that's going to be tricky.
It's next weekend. It's not really 2 weeks.
Right,
but we'll talk about it next week. Before we move on to tennis and getting Seth on the phone, out of the Premier League, which club, it's probably an easy answer, which club has had the best summer?
The best summer?
It's pretty easy. If you're taking this long, then you got problems.
Well, it's still too early to tell. Like, it's either United or City.
Outside of England.
Outside of England. Oh, PSG.
Yeah, thank you. There you go.
Yeah, I was about to say that's pretty much a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
What was it? £222 million for Neymar?
That's just for Neymar. Forget the business they just did for Mbappe.
Yeah. What a
like
friggin'
now
squad.
You can almost say that they're Champions League favorites. They're ahead of Barcelona.
It's like
they're ahead of Barcelona.
Honestly, I think I would put them as Champions
they
League
are scary
favorites.
good with Cavani, Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, Pastore.
Verratti.
Yeah, they're stacked.
Yeah,
Danny
they have a
Alves,
crazy
Thiago
squad.
Mata.
Yeah,
They're going to run through the French league, but we'll see actually how
They will be. Well, Monaco's keeping.
Monaco's looking pretty good too,
keeping
actually.
up with them.
You're going to have to sort of be converted to not a fan, but like giving them more credit.
These clubs that have been in the past known to fail and not make expectations are starting to meet those expectations. Monaco is one of them. Tottenham is, I think, past that as well, but they're starting to drop.
But also, speaking of Tottenham, we should mention that like the whole transfer window, everyone was saying they weren't making any deals, but they did sign Fernando Llorente, which I think he's better than Janssen, so that could be some.
No, they got Llorente and they got Serge
Aurier
from PSG as well. He's an underrated signing as well.
He's a right back,
I believe so.
Yeah,
he's going to take Trippier off the field.
Yeah, they
which
need
is
that.
So good.
That actually
Because
helps.
Trippier, I don't know why he's in the starting lineup for a top 6 team. I think some people said Spurs won the deadline day. Not the transfer window, but the deadline day.
Could be. I want to bring this up because it's something that I think is interesting because I worked yesterday with Sport 1 and I saw some interesting games. And one team that really stuck out to me was France with their starting 4. Like they're up front, they're 4 players up front. And I wanted like people to comment or let us know like what they think the best country's front 4 would be. Because I think there's plenty of teams you can put out there. Like France, Brazil had a good a front 4. I'm sure Spain does.
Spain, Italy, by the way, on Saturday night. That's a huge game.
That'll be interesting.
I have no say on the matter because it's a must-win game for Italy. I couldn't even give you a prediction.
Yeah, I was about to say Italy's definitely the underdog of that game, aren't they?
They're the underdog because I believe the game is at the Bernabeu.
Oh, yeah.
So when you make a big game out of such a legendary stadium, it's going to be huge pressure for Italy. Italy, this is it. This is pretty much the battle for first place.
Yeah.
A tie doesn't do Italy well at all.
Second place goes to a playoff, or it's like the top.
Second place goes to playoff. 8 out of the 9 teams from the groups, but pretty much Italy's in good shape with their 16 points. They won't get last place. But that's a big game. We're trying to get Seth on the line, so we'll
dial him up.
We'll dial him up, but while we're waiting, Spain. We'll just keep on talking Spain and Italy. It's a huge game. This was Israel's group. Israel screwed the pooch by not beating Albania, and that's pretty much left it only as Israel, Italy, and Spain, and I don't know. It'll be fun to watch. That's for sure.
The biggest thing to notice from that is though that David Villa has been called up for.
Yeah, huge props. Huge props.
Hello, Seth. Can you hear us?
Seth, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. We're going to turn you off for a second, then we're going to put you on the line.
All right.
All right. Seth, can you hear us now?
Sethi? Is it still there or no?
Hold up. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect.
Okay.
Yay! So
We just finished soccer talk.
no, but Seth, if you have 1 point from soccer, any point at all, I know I'm putting you on the spot,
and a prediction from USA because we made without you.
and a prediction for USA. So 1 point from soccer and 1 USA prediction.
I just think random soccer going to France. Last week you said PSG is going to easily take this year. Even with Mbappe going to Paris Saint-Germain, I still believe Monaco will put up a fight with them.
Whew. That's good. He's staying by his points.
You weren't able to listen to us before, but that's literally what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I'm back on.
I have no idea, but Falcao, I mean, yes, he's scored maybe, I think 2 of them are penalties, but he has, I believe, 7 goals off the top of my head in 4 games.
Yeah, something like
So,
that. I mean, I'll give you a little insight on my Champions League team, but I have a few Monaco sleepers there. I think they might. It'll be tough with Porto. They'll be 1-2 for sure, but I think they'll give Porto a run for their money for first place. I think I'm back. I think I'm on board with Monaco.
So then you changed your opinion throughout the past week.
A little bit, because they did some good replacement buying, even though they lost some good players, and they're getting the results. And once they start getting the results, you have to go with it. You can't just say they're a bad team, even if it's the French league, and you have to give them their credit.
Right.
Okay,
Very good.
USA prediction.
3-1.
3-1 over Costa Rica. All right.
That's a decent one. It was 2-0 for Jake and Mike and 3-0 for me. So we're pretty much on the same page.
Unfortunately, I do see some problems with USA's defense still.
Naturally. I mean, they're missing 2 regulars. So
So I do think Costa Rica will be able to get one in. Obviously, they scored 4 last time at home, but it's very different. But I do believe USA will go with 3-1.
very, very good. Okay, moving on to the U.S. Open. There's been some crazy upsets, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's been some crazy upsets.
And a lot of upsets and near upsets, because Federer went to 5 sets for, I think, was it two games in a row already?
I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, both his first games in the 64 and the 32, he won 3-2. I think he is saving energy. He is slightly injured, if I'm correct, but he took the last set both times simply, so he's not scared. He was even down 2-1 yesterday and came back easily 3-2. So, I mean, you can look at it in different ways. You can say that he's shaky, he's rusty. I mean, he's clearly not rusty. He won Wimbledon, but you can say he's off or whatever. But I think he's just taking it easy for now, and he knows he'll win it in the end, because if you look at his future matchups, that's what's crazy for me. He's playing now Feliciano Lopez, his toughest opponent yet. After that, most likely Kohlschreiber.
Right.
After that, either Thiem, number 8 in the world, or Del Potro, who I talked about last week.
Okay.
After that, Nadal. And then after that, Cilic. Of course, if that's according to favorites, no upsets, but that's most likely his path. So he definitely has the hardest path out of anyone.
It would be Nadal in the semis?
Nadal's in the semis. They were put on the same side of the bracket because of Andy Murray was ranked number 2 and then dropped out after the draw was already made.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that made Federer and Nadal in the semis, because Nadal's ranked 1, Murray was ranked 2, but then dropped out after the draw was already set. You couldn't then just switch Federer to the other side.
All right.
Tell us about, if you can, Denis Shapovalov from Canada. He was born in Tel Aviv, and I think he just upset Tsonga.
He was born in Tel Aviv?
Yeah.
I did not know
You didn't
that.
do all your research.
I mean, that's not very important.
But it is, because we're in Israel. But
I do know that he beat Tsonga and Medvedev, both of them 3-0. So he is quite on fire. If I'm not mistaken, he also won a recent tournament.
yeah, I think he won the Canadian Open just last
Let's
month.
take a look. No, he lost
He lost
both-
in the
both
quarters.
Canadian tournaments in the finals.
In the finals.
That's not
But
bad,
lost-
though, still.
You know, that's the first one was a reasonably easy tournament, but he lost to someone kind of in the same range of him. And then in the one in Montreal, he lost to Alexander Zverev, who's ranked number 4 in the U.S. Open and the biggest upset so far of the tournament, who lost yesterday to Bueno Coric.
He's beaten Nadal recently.
Yeah, that was the upset in the Canadian Open. That was the huge
Yeah,
upset.
he beat Nadal in the quarters.
But
Do you think he's going to be able to beat Edmund?
Edmund, he 100% has a chance. He might even be a slight favorite with his momentum and the way he's been playing lately. I don't know. It's quite even, honestly. He definitely can beat him.
The favorite right now has Shapovalov.
There you go. So he's even the favorite right now. He's actually a decent favorite now that I'm looking at it. But the match after that, he will be against Carreno Busta from Spain, and I do not think he will be able to beat him.
Well, we wish him the best of luck, but just another fun fact about him. Born in Tel Aviv, Canadian nationality, resides in the Bahamas. So this guy
Life.
this
He's
guy
living large.
is a worldwide traveler.
Mr. Worldwide.
But any other players you want to mention that are having good tournaments so far?
What about Jack Sock, Seth?
It's Jack Stark. He's already out.
He lost in the first round.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But just to remind you, as I said either last week or 2 weeks ago, he is the second highest ranked American. But I said to all of you guys
Sam
that the
Querrey.
third ranked American is my number one American, which is Querrey, who just beat Duty Sela from Israel 3-0. And so that's what I just wanted to mention, actually, was this round, I believe Querrey will easily pass Albut. And Isner plays Michel Zverev, which is a tough matchup, but I believe he will go through. And then you have Querrey versus Isner in the next round.
Interesting.
Is that Battle of the Americans?
That's the last two Americans.
Interesting. That'll be fun to watch.
Or I believe it's the last two Americans, but the Americans that matter, I guess.
The Americans that matter. Last points you want to make about the U.S. Open?
Anything on the women's side?
Before the women's, I mean, just the upsets are crazy. Yesterday, Dimitrov lost, Berdych lost, Muller lost, Tsonga lost, Ramos lost, Zverev. Those are all top 20 ranked players. It was a crazy day yesterday. The other thing I want to mention is another crazy matchup in the next round. Could be Dominic Thiem versus Del Potro, two players who definitely can win the tournament, and then whoever wins that goes on to play Federer. So that whole bracket area is really crazy right now.
Very cool. Mike mentioned anything on the women's side, or that's going status quo?
Well, you have the ranked number 2, Halep lost, but to Maria Sharapova, that's a completely unlucky draw because she was not ranked because she has not played this year.
Suspended.
Because of suspension.
What was her suspension for? I didn't even know about this.
Drugs.
Really?
She took some supplement.
Drugs.
She took some supplement that wasn't kosher, and
The usual.
it might have been an accident. I just shrugged it off because I'm sick of the doping stories, whether innocent or guilty. It's just you shouldn't be anywhere close to something that's questionable. The same can be said for John Jones. But
This we should have actually seen coming. Sharapova has beaten Halep every time.
That is true.
Yeah, but you can't. You don't know how rusty is, how out of shape she is.
7 out of
It's
7.
really tough.
I think she's on a revenge tour, so I think she's going to go quite far in this tournament.
Wow.
Who do you think is going to knock her out is the question.
She has a pretty easy draw at the moment.
She does.
I mean, she beat Babos yesterday, which is not a hard opponent, but only 2-1. She didn't go by her easily. Now she's playing some person I have honestly never heard of, which is strange. But
Mad respect.
She's ranked 139th in the world.
We'll give it to Sharapova.
Yeah, that okay.
Then she's playing either Vekic, who's like 40-something, or Sevastova, which would be a tough matchup. But really, she has a pretty easy way now because she was on the side. She obviously beat Halep. And then other Cybulkova ranked 11 already lost. And so she should be able to go at the very least far. The other big upset was last year's winner, 6th ranked Kerber from Germany.
Saw that.
Was very shocking because people expected her to go farther. But she actually lost to Osaka, who is Japanese-American.
So which one's first? Like she's born in Japan and now she's American, or just American with Japanese heritage?
No, she's Japanese with American heritage.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But she's also very young. She's very strong. She's only 19 years old, and she actually had a breakout year. And it's shocking that she beat the current champion.
Well, amazing stuff in the U.S. Open. We'll turn our attention now to some fun college football quiz for young Seth. Last week's episode, it was mentioned that Seth's college football knowledge has gone downhill ever since moving to Israel. We quizzed him with the Alabama Crimson Tide. He couldn't come up with Crimson Tide.
The worst team in football,
So
I'd
we're-
just like to say.
We're gonna throw about, let's say, 5 to 10 colleges and see if you can get some of the mascots.
I think it's also.
I think I will get 0.
I think it's worthy to mention for those who don't know about Lee Corso's mascot stuff. Every week before the games get previewed and they happen, he always picks their headline game, or how do you describe which game they choose to do?
It's a top game of the week, and they go to their city to have a pregame show.
So yeah, at the end he always picks who he thinks he's gonna win from that home game, and he puts on the mascot of whoever thinks he's gonna win, and it's always a fun little thing. And yesterday, I think we should start off with that. Who's Ohio State, Seth?
Oh, I want to say the Buckeyes.
That's correct.
We'll give
They're
it-
also a terrible team. I'd just like to put that out
We'll
there.
give it to you, even though there wasn't
One
a
for
final
one.
answer.
Definitely give it to me. That's the last one I'm getting.
Okay, how about Arizona State?
Arizona State Wildcats.
No,
that's
you've confused them with the Arizona Wildcats.
No, that's not fair.
There we go. It's the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I got the Arizona
Pretty interesting
part. Come
mascot.
on.
Yeah.
You did not get the Arizona part. We're talking Arizona State.
Let's go in order. Do you think like we should each like mention one or just whatever's on top of our head?
Off the top of our head till we get to like 10 because this gets tedious. Nebraska.
Oh, what?
Nebraska.
I know this one.
Nebraska.
Not a
That was
chance he gets
actually-
this.
That was the state I studied in the 5th grade.
That's cool.
Okay, did
But
you say their
I
college?
do not think that I had to mention their college football team.
Okay, we'll save you the time. It's the Cornhuskers of Nebraska.
Yeah, not a chance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with now Seth. What is Hawaii's mascot?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
Moana.
No. It's the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
Bitch.
Let's go with an SEC team, the Arkansas what?
He's not gonna get that. No way.
Oh, I know that. The best conference in all of football. Come on, you should know this.
He's not gonna get
I'm
this.
just saying, like, the first word that comes to my mind, which was Warriors.
No.
Just because you heard Hawaii, the Arkansas Razorbacks.
What is a Razorback, though? Do you know?
Like some mountain lion.
It's a boar. It's a type of
I
boar.
was gonna go with pig. Would have been closer.
I got a few more.
Go, Mike.
Notre Dame.
Okay.
Oh, my
Fighting
team. My
Irish.
team.
There it is. He got
There
it.
we go.
I'm
There's
making
the
sure.
Good, good.
That's good. Yeah,
I got 2.
we had to go down a little bit easier for you. We're not going to mention.
UCLA.
No, that's the easy.
Miami. What's Miami's mascot?
Well, that's a good one.
I want to say Hurricane.
Correct.
Yeah.
But what
Ding, ding,
animal do they use as their mascot?
That's tricky for him.
I mean, you want to go Dolphin, but that's obviously not.
No. It's not the Dolphins. We already have a Miami Dolphins.
So they're called the Miami Hurricanes, and they have an animal.
Yes,
Yeah,
they do.
I don't even
they
remember this,
They
I
don't,
think.
they don't,
Swordfish.
no.
What? No.
Swordfish.
Tell him, Jake.
It's a crane.
Yeah.
What is a crane?
It's like a bird.
It's a very tall bird that they
I was
have
thinking
in
I was
the
thinking
Everglades.
of,
and
I was
whatnot.
thinking of animals in the ocean.
We'll do a few more. Let's do Texas.
Longhorn.
Okay, that's easy. Come on.
Well, he
Vince
has to
Young, buddy. That's what I said was the last game I saw.
we have to give him some easy ones. A few
3.
more. A few more. He got 3. That's not
Oklahoma.
bad. Ooh.
He's not gonna get that. It's a good one, but he's not gonna get it.
Did we already say? Oh, we said Ohio State, not Oklahoma State.
Nope.
We said
Well,
no,
said-
not Oklahoma State. Oklahoma.
Unless you want to try Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State is the Cowboys, so that'll help. you.
Oklahoma State has one of the best mascots. Pistol Pete is a great mascot.
But Oklahoma what?
Oklahoma
Boomer?
He's not gonna get it.
Ring.
No. The
Sooners.
Oklahoma
There's the Sooners. Sooner Boomer.
Nice.
Why'd you say Boomer?
Because it's Boomer
their,
Sooner.
That's their. theme
All
in
right.
songs.
All right, Stanford.
Okay, that's an easy one.
Is it?
What easy one?
It's Pac-10. You gotta know this shit.
Pac-12.
Pac-12. Not yet.
Pac-12.
Stanford.
One of the scariest looking mascots in all of college football,
But it's smiling at you.
in a really creepy way.
It's red, right?
No.
No.
Well, the mascot's not red, but they
Yeah,
are red,
Yeah.
which will help. I mean, think of red, you think of.
There's like their mascot.
that
and
doesn't
there's
help.
There's their mascot and there's their team name. So they're.
Well, we're pretty much meaning their team. name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, their
Aren't
team
they
name
red?
is
They
they're
are
red,
red.
but what's their
They are-
mascot? What is it?
The nickname.
I don't know.
It's the Stanford Cardinal with their dancing crazy tree.
Yeah.
And the Stanford Band, which is one of the most underrated bands in all of college football.
All right.
I mean, I got the red.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
did.
we'll give it to you. I think we've gone too long with this bit, but I think you
Fair
get
enough.
the point. Seth made some correct guesses. Some others went over his head, but I think he did pretty well. College football starts this weekend, which is a very good sign and very happy to see because that means, like I've been saying, the sports world seasons have begun. NFL's a week away. Just to highlight briefly, UCLA plays Texas A&M. I think it'll be a tough game at the Rose Bowl.
Isn't that like UCLA's kryptonite?
Texas A&M.
There's always
Yeah.
a kryptonite in every single year for UCLA. Usually it's themselves, but Texas A&M, obviously everything is going to be about Houston for them because they're going to play for the people of Houston and people of Texas. So it's hard to play.
I think Texas A&M wins.
Yeah, that's the problem. And because you don't want to put the tragedy into a game, and you put all your thoughts and prayers with the people of Texas. And maybe I bet you some of the players on Texas A&M have family that are got wreaked in the havoc of the Hurricane Harvey. But I hope for my sake UCLA can pull off the win because we need a good season this year. But we'll see. I'll be up at about 2 a.m. to watch this game. Any other college games you have your eyes on this weekend?
I actually want to talk about a game that already happened. USF. We're not that great a team, but we managed to win our first game, which we should have, against San Jose State, which is a garbage team. So I'm glad we won that. What other games? Ohio State beat Indiana. That makes me sad, but whatever. Indiana's not good at football. Oklahoma State beat Tulsa. Nothing special. Stanford beat Rice. Just annihilated them 62-7. Also not that special.
But the big game is Florida State versus Alabama.
Oh,
1 versus 3.
Yeah, Florida State, Alabama. That's exactly what I was about to talk about. Florida State, honestly, this year, Alabama, they're ranked top again. They always, I could go on like a 30-minute rant for how much I hate Alabama. They still that same
coach, like Nick Saban?
Nick Saban, yeah.
Still the coach?
Yeah, Nick Saban is the highest paid public employee in the United States. So, I mean, and he earns it. He wins games. But Florida State is still, I mean, they're a good team. I think they're ranked consistently. I think Alabama's number 1 and Florida State is like number 5 or 6. So it's going to be a good game.
Florida State might be even 3.
It might be 3?
Yeah.
Let me check that.
I think the rankings have them at 3 right now.
Either way, my pick is Alabama and lay the points. They'll beat them by more than 7.5.
Yeah, the line's out of 7.
They'll beat them by more than 7.5. Alabama will start their season on the right foot. And like we said, we are very excited that college football is back. Unless someone else has something they want to talk about, I think that's it for this show, guys.
No, I think we covered basically everything this week. Like, obviously, there's still a bunch of more international games from soccer to happen, but there's no really need to go into it.
Can I briefly mention something about the NFL?
Yeah,
obviously not a lot of news. Can we talk a little bit about Julian Edelman's ACL tear?
I don't know, did it happen like in a game or practice?
No, it was at practice.
What's there to talk about?
I mean, briefly for a minute, I'll just say, obviously, okay, so Julian Edelman at practice tore his ACL. Obviously, this is a pretty big shock for the Patriots fans, and especially to him. He had a great season last year.
I think he was the 30th NFL player this preseason to tear his ACL.
I believe he was, yes. Which, I mean, obviously we can go on another long story about why they shouldn't go crazy at practice and why this and that. But, I mean, that's true. Other people have obviously torn their ACLs, especially during practice, especially when it gets hot and it's easier and you get more dehydrated. But him especially, I mean, this could be a big dent in the Patriots' offense. I was about to say offense, but also season. I don't know why that word didn't come to me.
So I think they're going to go 12-4 instead of 14-2.
I mean, people had them at 16-0.
Yeah, that was a fun one, but no, they're not going to run the table. They'll have one bad week, as we've known to see, like in Buffalo or even against the Jets. But I think they'll have fine.
And once they clinch playoffs, they're not going to.
Yeah, that's always the fickle thing. Once you clinch the playoffs, you rest your guys. But then again, if they're going for 16-0, it's Belichick, it's Brady. Like, I mean, I've said it enough. Brady, you should retire. You've accomplished all you can in the game. You're just risking injury and mental health the rest of your life.
I read a fantastic article, actually, that talks about how this particular season for him at 40 is when other great quarterbacks like Peyton Manning and all of them have actually started to go downhill.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he loves the game so much, but you've made enough money. Your legacy is intact. You're one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Why risk a life-threatening injury playing this dangerous sport? But that's what he wants to do. That's his choice. But one more thing about the NFL before we close. Ezekiel Elliott, the appeal of his suspension is ongoing. I think they just finished discussions of it. The rumor is it might go to 0.
Really?
It might go to 0. They want to know this by Monday of Tuesday of next week so they can get ready for week 1 against the Giants. But it will be the right decision because he was never charged or arrested. And if we're going to live in a world where if you're going to get suspended for games for accusations, then we're going down a slippery slope. And
I mean, obviously in the legal system, it's innocent until proven guilty. So why shouldn't it be the same in the NFL?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why they jumped the gun, and that's why I was so upset with the decision. But everything that I've read and heard out of the discussions, it could be 0 games, which is the right call. And I can argue with anyone who's against that. Logically, not if you're like a Giants fan or want the Cowboys to lose, but just from the sake of Ezekiel playing, it's the right decision. I'm sorry. You can't change me off that point. But anyways, next week's show will be packed. We got the recap of the international break. We got Premier League resuming, all the other leagues in soccer resuming. The NFL is back. We'll recap Patriots and Chiefs. If I were you and you're in Vegas, I would take the Patriots and the points. They'll beat the Chiefs by more than 8, I believe.
Oh, almost certainly.
And by then it will be about 26 days to NHL.
Yeah,
so,
it's almost October, it's almost.
What do you mean it's almost October? It's the first day of September.
August was a bad month for me, so I'm ready for.
As the great Billy Joe Armstrong said, "Wake me up when September ends." This is the Greenberg Hat Trick. Thank you for listening. As like we always say, please give us your thoughts, feedback, comments, questions. We welcome them. We want to improve as we keep this going. We want to hear from you. Like the Facebook page. We want an active and participating audience. Maybe one of these shows we can have a call in or tweets to read up. But we're open to anything, and we appreciate you listening. And have a good week. Thank you. Bye, Seth.